ad libs. I need a a lover, a lover, a lover. I mean, it's Shakespeare writing up in here. PenPop.
Cut! Cut! No. Please. No, look. Back to one. This is not working. The glitter can't overpower the artist.
Hello, my name is Ary.
And my name is Dante.
And this is PenPop. Today's song is by the Songbird Supreme and Queen of Christmas.
No. What we want to hear about 9/11?
What?
Well, you don't want to hear about 9/11.
I mean, let's explore the iconic train wreck of Mariah Carey's Loverboy with very special guest, Katie Marnoch. Released on June 19, 2001, Mariah Carey's Loverboy was the lead single from the soundtrack for the film Glitter. What was supposed to be monumental and a risky career move became quite the disaster. Mariah had divorced from her former record label president, he who must not be named, Motorola, and signed to Virgin Records.
The first effort? A project in the works since 1998, Glitter. Starring Mariah Carey and set in the early 1980s New York City, Billy Frank is an aspiring singer who, with a rough childhood, who falls in love with a nightclub DJ and is offered a contract to sing backup and eventually develop a solo career.
And now, let's get into the mess of Loverboy with our special guest.
I'm in my pan.
So today on PenPop, our guest is a viral pop head making TikTok videos on album releases. All of your favorite pop girls. And the Mariah Carey Renaissance series working on her way on the music from Caution back to debut in 1990.
Yes, she is also the head writer for the new On Pop blog, a Substack blog for reviews on all the latest pop masterpieces. Please welcome Katie Marnoch. Welcome to PenPop, and thank you for being here.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for that introduction. You covered everything. I'm impressed.
Well, yes,
We try.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
Alrighty, so it's time to get your pens out.
That's right. Let's get into the lyrics and our first thoughts on Loverboy. So, Katie, how did you get into Mariah, and what were your first thoughts listening to Loverboy?
Well, interestingly enough, I think Loverboy was kind of a later discovery in my Mariah journey. So when I started getting into Mariah, I was more kind of in high school, and I loved the daydreams, the butterflies, the very like classic Mariah stuff. And for a long time, Glitter, the whole album, was not quite as available as some of her
Yeah.
other music. So it wasn't something that I necessarily had seeked out. And when I found it to be kind of weird. Like it's a little bit different than all of her other music.
Yep.
And yeah, I didn't really know how to react to it. And I think it's one of those songs that it is really interesting to talk about because there is so much lore associated with it. Yeah, but my first impression of it was that it was kind of weird. I feel like the sample in it specifically, it's not one of those samples that you get how she got from A to B, whereas if you think of like a fantasy, you hear that sample and everything just kind of blends so perfectly, and you can totally
Right.
hear how she heard that original song and she found the melodies to go with it and all that. Whereas Loverboy it's a little bit it sounds good, but it's I never really understood how she got from A to B, and so that's what struck me the most about it at first. But of course, I've grown to love it as a song and
Yeah.
also as a part of Mariah Carey scholarship.
Yes, we're all trying to get our masters
Exactly.
in
Yes.
it. Yeah, I agree with that. I forgot about that because I don't think it was on streaming till like 2019. Like it was after the Justice for Glitter
Justice
thing.
for Glitter,
And
right? Yeah.
yeah, and I agree. Like getting from that point A to B. I remember when I was first listening to it, like I didn't quite get the melody, or like it was hard for me to like listen along, and then eventually I'm like I understand like the melody and how the song went. But like at first you kind of hear the clangings of the candy, and then like the baby in the back. It took me a while to find my footing.
For me too. Like, well, I'm recently discovering, like you, I'm going through all the Mariah beginning to end. I think I'm going back though. I've started with her first debut and then going up. But when I got to Glitter, you're right. I fell out of love with it. I was like, not my music. Like that's not what I go to. So then I told Dante that, and he was like, just wait, give it another listen, which I
Mhm.
did. Well, we were preparing for this, and I got to say, I really liked it. I developed more of a understanding for it as I watched the movie and did a little bit more research. But you're right, it's one of those songs that you don't understand what she was doing here. She's like, wait a minute, is this Mariah? Why are there so many people in this track? I was confused at first. I'm like,
Yeah,
you know,
especially the
but
remix.
we'll talk about it as we go, but whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so are we ready to get into the lyrics of Loverboy?
I'm ready.
Poetry, yes, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so we're doing the remix because I like I thought the additional rap lyrics have important context, especially Debrat's verse, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So it starts with the scene from the movie, like an audio, what do you call it, clip or something,
Mhm.
where they're basically making fun of Billy Frank, the character of Mariah, having a date with the DJ, whose name I always forget. I'm sorry to that man. That Kiki Palmer quote. If I saw him on the street, I watched the movie so many times, I forget his name, and I'm so sorry to him. But
You don't
anyways,
know him.
they're like, Riri's got a new boyfriend. Yeah, Riri and Kenny sitting in a tree. Kissing. And then we go into the little ad libs. Baby. Baby. So I feel like that it's kind of Loverboy, like it's a very like lighthearted, like bubbly, sexually innuendo, but like it strikes me as Heartbreaker, where it like the lyrics are complicated and the melody is complex, but Mariah is still giving you something that's palatable to the average listener.
Totally.
Ad libs. I need a lover, a lover, a lover. I mean, it's Shakespeare writing up in here. And we go into the first verse. I got myself a lover who knows what I like. When he invites me over, I come every time. Now that can be taken in a couple different ways, especially with Honey too. Like it's certain lyrics you really gotta look in between the lines to see what she's really saying.
I don't remember. So they were dating at this point, right? Or they were going on a date. I don't
They're
remember.
going on like the first
The
date,
first
I
date, right?
think. But also in the movie, the Loverboy is like the debut single of Billy Frank. I don't know if they write it together. I don't remember.
So I guess it's a man that understands her more.
They kind of connect in the club because he's a DJ, she's an aspiring singer, and so together they're creating her debut album and kind of launching her because he's already established in the industry and is a background dancer slash singer at this point. Okay, and when my sugar daddy takes me for a ride, whatever way we go, it's delirium time.
So when my sugar daddy, was he rich? Well, I guess he was making my money, right?
I don't know. He wasn't like super rich in the movie.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And she was putting in the work, so
She's manifesting.
yeah.
But he's gonna be her sugar daddy.
Well,
All right.
I don't know. Takes me for a ride. And it's like the music video, they're like in the cars, I guess. I guess that's where David LaChapelle got the cars, I guess.
Yeah, right.
That makes sense though.
Another innuendo. Whatever way we go, it's delirium time. What does delirium mean?
I think
Like
it's
that's like when you're like out of
it's like a
it.
fixed belief
Yeah.
you can't reason away. Yeah,
Yeah.
like something you believe that you can't be persuaded to not be it.
Okay. So wherever we go, we're in a daze, in a fantasy.
She's
we should
always
say.
giving us a vocab word, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think my vocabulary has significantly improved.
And that's what I love about her. It's just her way of writing is just this words that she just comes out and just naturally says into a song.
Mhm.
Like it's so beautiful. I mean, no one writes like this anymore. No
And
shit.
what I love about it is like it was commercial. Like these
Yeah.
are well, not this wasn't a number one, but it was number two. But like Heartbreaker, she says like incessantly, and then like Honey, she's saying elusive, and like
Yeah.
these words where you're like, I gotta open up the dictionary.
And I love on this one too, it's like one line we're using sugar daddy, next line delirium. Like we're
Yeah,
Exactly.
you know, we're not
she has
afraid to be
range.
silly and fun and lighthearted, but also smart and interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we go into the pre-chorus. He's all mine, and his loving makes me high like a taste of ecstasy. All I need
Literally.
is him to be my lover boy. And I know she means like ecstasy, as in like delirium and having a good time.
Happiness.
But I wonder if it's since it's the album is like 80s themed, you know, back in the day, you know, they were doing a little bit of ecstasy, a little bit of coke, you know. I'm wondering if that was kind of like a purposeful reference.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I think she obviously cares a lot about this kind of time. And obviously like that 80s kind of dance era is important to
Yeah.
her. So, you know, maybe it's a nod to that for sure.
Yes, but also like when you're listening to that 80s music too, a lot of it's very like dancey, so you kind of just you let go and you're free and you feel like you're in ecstasy.
There you go.
And also that's how she could feel with him. Like that feeling of like being loose and not having to put up the persona of like the characters or things we all do.
Exactly.
Like it's just for her to she feels safe with him. All I need is
Hmm.
my lover boy. That's why it's like all I need is him. I don't need
Hmm.
nobody else. He makes me feel the ecstasy.
Exactly. Okay, so then we go into the chorus. Lover boy, come on and love me. Give me more. Touch me and touch me. I enjoy the way you rock me all night long. So again, I felt like another kind of like 80s reference. Like whenever I heard Rock Me All Night Long, I went to Rock With You by Michael Jackson off the wall because that was 79. But I think that was released like in the early 80s. So like it is kind of like early 80s.
Yeah.
And then she even like sampled him on E equals MC squared in I'm That Chick, I believe. She samples like the bridge.
There ain't no rules, it's up to you. There ain't no rules, it's up to you. Party all right through the night. Party all night through the night. I'm alright.
So it's interesting how she does that foreshadowing.
Yeah, definitely that kind of early 80s disco kind of sound is
Yeah.
something she's drawing a lot from on the whole album. So that would make sense for sure.
Lover boy, come on and take me. Only you know how to make me shudder with anticipation all night long. Again,
Shudder
can be
with
taken
anticipation.
can be taken in a couple different ways.
Anticipation of like
Of like maybe like waiting to see them like get together, like or even in a modern context now, like when you're waiting for someone to like your story or like text you. You're waiting for them to view you went through so much work to post that story and you're waiting for that one person to see it, that anticipation, and then they don't. And well,
She's ahead of her time.
truly writing history.
Yes.
absolutely. And then we go to the second verse. I got myself a lover and he's so sublime. It's quite a bit of heaven to feel him inside.
These words, sublime. Like, girl, like I have to search this up.
Sublime,
It's like
I think.
perfect.
Okay.
Like the best.
Like,
Yeah.
Again, it's like I associate with like luxury. Like it's just like it can't get any better than this. But usually it's used in like a food context.
Yeah. So perfect, you said. So he's so perfect. He's so like basically heaven.
Yeah.
So in the movie, I don't remember. Did they end up together?
Yes, but it's very rocky.
So maybe this is like the prefix to them saying like it was perfect at this time, and then maybe later it's gonna be rocky.
Yeah.
More
Definitely like they were in that honeymoon phase for a bit when like
exactly.
Loverboy becomes a hit in the context of the movie and they become a star and basically they're kind of working together towards releasing her album, but along the way there's creative differences and other external forces that are kind of drawing them apart.
So yeah, so I think they're just trying to, foreshadow a little bit, like everything is perfect now, but
Mhm.
well, because the next line is to feel him inside. So I don't
Well,
know how much I can make of that.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's that aspect of the
Yeah,
relationship as well.
because
Because when my sugar daddy take me for a ride, whenever we go, it's delirium time again.
yeah,
And then it's kind of like she switches up the pre-chorus. So that I get weak when his candy kisses sweetly caress my whole body. All I need is him to be my lover boy. Self-explanatory.
nothing to
Mariah's
say there.
living her best life. She's having a hot girl summer, in New York in the 80s. And yeah, we're going to the chorus again. So then we get a little bit like the Candy cameo thing where it's like this stuff is starting now. It's the same feeling I always seem to get around you. Yes, I do. Like, I guess this stuff is like the feelings of love and passion. And because you affect me, fascinate me, I thank heaven for the things that you do. And that's true. Like, when you're in a relationship, like, in the honeymoon phase, it's sublime, as Mariah would say. Okay. And yeah,
So maybe
my
like,
eyes roll in my head. I toss and turn in my bed in the morning when I think about you. Candy. Yeah, they're using like Candy. And I'm not sure if this part, if she wrote it or if it was like a verse from Candy. Because I know the chorus of Candy, but I'm not familiar with the verses.
I'm pretty sure it's the cameo vocal on the recording, right?
I'm not sure at this part. Like, this stuff is starting now. The lead singer is singing it.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure. I don't remember that. My eyes roll in my head. I toss and turn in my bed. Because he's also like speaking in the back too.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. It's possibly from Candy. So it says, my eyes roll in my head. I toss and turn in my bed. In the morning when I think about you, Candy. Simply put, You're the reason why, even though I'm real shy, it's like candy. So losing
It
sleep.
still fits her lyrics, even though it's not
Yeah,
her
exactly.
writing.
I attempt to look my best for you. Indeed, I do.
I'm wondering if she wrote it from the perspective of fit the candy sample, or she wrote it and the sample fits so well.
I know. I wonder if this part was with the firecracker sample.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe
So-
she did she listen to the sample and then add her own lyrics, or just? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if she wrote it and just beautifully matched.
Yeah.
So.
Honestly, then we go into the chorus again, and then we go to the rap verses. So this is Shauna and Ludacris. Man, is it the glitter on her breasts or the gloss of the lips? Hickeys on the chest or the toss of the hips? I'm so lost in the mix, so I floss in the seas. Now that one I'm lost.
The sea?
Oh, why flossing?
Isn't that a dance?
Isn't I was just gonna say that.
I was gonna
but,
say it.
but like I'm thinking like the 2017 version with like the backpack kid
Gotcha.
Yeah.
in the seas of people in the club, I guess.
I think it's a double entendre, and I'm just not getting it. We'll get back on that one.
No, I think you're right. I think he's talking about like dancing through the crowd, like you're lost in the dance, and you see your lover boy or lover girl, whatever, and then you're like flossing through the people because you know when like you're with your friends and you know someone goes to you go to get a drink, you go to the bathroom, and you coming back, and you're like, now where did they go? Like I told them to stay here, but then like you kind of see them over there, and they're like reaching out to you, but like there's someone in the way, so you're kind of just like making your way over.
Exactly.
Turning out the hits. I'm exhausted as shit. So now we go to Shauna's part. Now, baby, it's the more paper, dough chaser.
Money?
Money.
Get money.
Yes.
Okay.
Now get it right, would you? Heartbreaker. I keep it tight, but I'm no faker. You can laugh now, but you'll cry later. And I think I like you in your freak clothes, freak thongs, and my specialized peep shows. Okay. You know, and that's why we do this podcast, because you don't realize what you're singing. Because at this part, I'm doing like mumbleized syllables. And
Yeah.
then you actually read it, and you're like, okay.
Maybe I should.
And then I make you touch your knees to your elbows. We're doing head, knees, and toes. All right. Almost girl from Peachtree to Melrose. Melrose is a place in LA. It was also like a soap opera show, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe I think the Peach Pit was like the place they hung out. Or is that 90210?
No, I think.
I don't remember. There's a connection there. I think they're referencing the show. Whole world, it's cool. Cause see, I like it when we smoked out, all choked out. With some freak shit, no doubt. You kind of got me like a fiend when you call out. Now get your boys for my girls. We can roll out.
I guess just get out. of the
Yeah,
club?
but I think fiend, like, is that short for like feline, like a cat? Well, all right. Then we go to the next
Okay.
verse. 22 and Debrat. Pardon me, you're kind of innocent, a vision of love. Lots of references in here. You adore me even though my image is thug. What I see in you is for my eyes only to see. I guess like qualities or...
I guess that could have a double meaning too.
And maybe also they're referencing like Mariah's image at the time because like now we're post Butterfly and she's getting more involved in hip hop. I mean, she always was, but now it's more explicitly so.
Yeah.
Bring up the freak in you up and down on me is the next line. And I like this part because kind of 22 and Debrat are like kind of going back and forth, kind of like a brother and sister like like fight or something. Like that's the way I always like interpret it. And she's like, I'm your lover girl, me your lover boy. And when we home alone, become each other's toys, making noise we can't avoid.
Okay.
The way that I throw that cat pop
I think we know what cat pop is.
backdrop,
Stopwatch. I think the writing here is just way beyond. Like,
I just feel like it's so many inside jokes.
yeah, like I think it's just way. I feel like when I listen to Jay-Z, I don't know what he's saying, but I know it's something way extravagant. I don't know.
I feel like it's maybe
to
like
even break
very
it
like
down.
early 2000 things, and I think we're just not getting that.
But probably. Well, because we're just born. But anyways.
All the things you want to do for me, you oughta. We can get obscene, my Purina, and your ding-a-ling mingle.
I thought this was a classy party.
Like, what is going on here?
What is a Purina? I'm searching this up.
I'm looking it up. It's a flamingo. Well,
To be in the
Yeah.
studio when this was being written.
Right?
imagine
Oh
that.
my goodness.
And the
The meaning
producer
of
was like,
Purina
okay.
is like a fairy or angel, one who is filled with goodness and is like a life savior.
Well,
It's from, and then I'm also getting, it's a stream in the Alps of northern Italy. So,
Purina. Now we know.
my angel, maybe, I guess it's saying it, but
Oh.
like in a more fancy way. Like, my Purina. Bother me not when the sensation come out because I'll make you scream. Baby, feel me. When I pump, lady. Remind me we can be close like family. You're so sweet. You taste like all types of candy.
Bringing it back.
But it is true. Like when you listen to the song, you're not understanding half the things that they're saying. So that's why I think
No.
also when I first listened, I'm like, what is happening? It was too fast.
Yeah,
I
that's true,
didn't know
'cause
what's
that
going
it's
on.
like all of this plus all the production in the back, and
Exactly.
Candy
It's
and
too
Mariah.
chaotic. It's chaotic.
There's too much happening right now. I'm overstimulated.
A
Literally.
lot going on. Yeah.
And then we're like naming like different sweet foods from Starburst. What kind of Starburst y'all like? I like the red ones and the pink ones.
I like the pink ones.
Pink or red. I don't like it. I don't like orange. Nope. Throw it out.
I like the orange, I have to say. I also like the
No.
yellow. Jelly beans? Do you guys eat
Mm-mm.
jelly beans? Like, I never really had those as a kid.
No.
I feel like
I'm
that's
going for
such
the
an
Starburst.
old-fashioned... Yeah. Banana split my Dairy Queen. Come on, Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
I love a Blizzard. What flavor Blizzard we all getting?
They should have done a collab
I know.
for the
Smart.
movie.
Were they there back
Probably
then?
would have helped a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, since the 50s, Dairy Queen's been around.
So then they definitely were there.
Yeah.
I like Oreo. Classic.
I
I
like
like
the
a
cheesecake
peanut butter
one.
cup. Peanut butter cup for me.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good too, yeah. Or the turtles.
Yeah.
Now, how does this go from the movie
Because I thought it'd be fun to talk about our favorite Dairy Queen Blizzards.
All right.
Butterfinger, my tangerines.
Jesus.
I don't think we need to analyze that one.
No, I think we got it.
Chickens only taste my Loverboy in their dreams, and that's kind of like
Chickens.
foreshadowing to It's Like That,
I was gonna
which is
say.
like them chickens is ash and I'm lotion.
Exactly.
Them chickens is ash and I'm lotion.
Here, all my ladies, let me hear you scream, and then we get to Mariah and Debrat doing interpolation, I guess we can say,
Okay.
which was only used on the remix because, as we know,
Mm-hmm.
the firecracker was out the window and we got cameo. But the fact that Mariah still works the firecracker into the song, that's like genius to me.
Yeah, she had to do a nod to the original, I think. She probably wanted something. in there.
Absolutely. She had to make a point.
Yes.
And Mariah and Debrat say, hate on me much as you want to. You can't do what the fuck I do. Bitches be emulating me daily.
Oh.
And Mariah goes, daily.
Just be emulating me daily. Hang on me much as you.
And we go again. Hate on me what much as you want to. You can't be who the fuck I be. Bitches be imitating me, baby. And then we go to
That's true.
Loverboy again and whatever.
Because you know how the shade is towards, so.
Well,
I was gonna say it's no
Not gonna say.
coincidence that that's the interpolation and those are the lyrics
yeah.
that go with
exactly.
I
it,
mean,
right?
I think she made it clear.
Yeah.
Often
Very
imitated, never
clear.
duplicated.
Exactly.
Okay, let's take a break and we'll discuss all things Loverboy.
Hey guys, we're stopping our very own podcast for our very own fake ad until we get sponsorships.
We love manifesting. Make sure to follow us on whatever social media you're on at PenPop Podcast to get notified for new episodes, because why would you miss them?
Or just talk to us in general on our personal accounts at DanteDidomenico_ and at Ary Dominguez Official.
And if you like what you're hearing so far, don't forget to leave us a rating or review from wherever you're listening to this podcast.
And now, back to PenPop.
PenPop.
Now that we've analyzed the lyrics, we get into a rollout of the song, the music video, the movie, and more.
Yes, Loverboy was written and produced by Carey, Larry Blackman, Thomas Jenkins, and Clark Kent, as well as sampling Candy by Cameo, whose vocals are also featured on the track. And again, the remix featured rappers Ludacris, Debrat, Shauna, and 22. The song has various layered keyboards, synths, drums, bass, guitar, harmonies, shouts, and ad-libs from Carey and Cameo leader Larry Blackman. But that's just scratching the surface. First, let's talk about each version of Loverboy. So we have the original version with the firecracker sample, and the remix, which we went through. And then we also have the album version with just Candy and Cameo. Without the rap. So I want to know, what is everyone's opinion on each version and which one they think is superior?
I think for me, I like the version with the with all the features on it. I think it feels very true to Mariah, and I think it's a fun version. But I do like both versions.
I was going to say, I like both in their unique way, but if I was going to choose, I was going to say that too. Like, Mariah's just, you can feel like she's like and like I was saying in the studio, like you can feel like she was probably like at home, like with her friends and stuff like that. Like they were making something that it wasn't, pushed. It was just being themselves. But yeah, I don't think I can pick one.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
it's go
like
go.
I'm like you guys. Like I like both versions of like the Candy cameo. Like when I
Mhm.
was really excited to hear the Firecracker version in 2020 on the rarities, and I think everybody, all the lambs were like, "Whoa!" It was such a moment. Like we were all anticipating to hear what would have been, and I honestly like the cameo version better.
Yeah, I
Me
think
too.
the thing about the Firecracker version on the rarities is that it feels kind of underdone. Like my guess is there was probably still some more production to do on it, and that was just what she had, so that was there. But it really was that was the most exciting thing about the rarities to me was
Yeah.
be able to hear that original version. It felt
Mhm.
so special, and that was one of the moments where it really clicked for me, like, oh, I see how she went from that sample to this song,
Hmm.
even if it
Totally.
feels a little, it almost sounds like kind of more done demo. Like it doesn't feel
Right.
totally complete, but I can
Mhm.
hear how she got from A to B with that sample. So it kind of came full circle on Loverboy for me when I first heard that version.
Absolutely. I was gonna say too, like again, the same thing happened to it when I listened to it. Like I like the little do da 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 do 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 do. Like she's doing those ad libs. Like I could have seen that in the other version, but I don't know if it's because I was listening to the Candy version like all this time. But when I listened to the Firecracker version for the first time, I just kind of had the melody of the cameo one in my head. So again, I found myself kind of lost in the footing of finding the melody and like kind of listening along because you have like the sample is very it goes up, it's like an up and down scale, it's like dun 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 dun. Let's do the rollout.
Mariah had been developing glitter and its soundtrack since 1998 to the dismissal of her label. The film was originally titled All That Glitters, with a dark plot, and Loverboy had originally sampled in 1978 Yellow Magic Orchestra song Firecracker. Unfortunately, her ex, Motorola, was molding in another female singer to replicate Mariah's success, used the sample for her second album, Lead, which is also released on June 19, 2001.
And if she had the luxury of not actually having to sing her own songs,
She
she'd
would
do
do it
that
too.
too. But Mariah thought quick on her feet to switch the sample to Candy. This had been backed by Irv Gotti in a later interview that Motorola knew that Carey had locked down the sample and rushed to have the other singer get it first.
After hearing my new song, using the same sample I used, Sony rushed to make a single for another female entertainer on their label. They used the Firecracker sample and released it before Loverboy. Ja Rule and I wrote a song together too, and next thing you know, Tommy was calling up his manager, Irv Gotti, asking him and Ja to collaborate on a duet for the same female entertainer's record, leaving me to scurry and remake the song. Irv has even discussed it since in an interview on Jesus and Mero. This was Sabotage, plain and simple.
And he calls me because he found out me and Rule made a record with Mariah Carey. And at the time, he hated Mariah Carey.
But that's just the tip of the iceberg of the sabotage that went down behind Mariah's glitter project.
In addition to the original sample used on the remix, we did get to hear the original version of Loverboy on the 2020 compilation of rarities and a double A single with Here We Go Around Again in Japan.
Loverboy was leaked to radio on June 1st, 2001 and was rush released for damage control. Mariah went straight into promotion overload with several interviews and flights overseas back to back, plus a hip-hop and David Morales mix with resung vocals. With strong physical sales, discounting, and low radio play, Loverboy still peaked at number 2 on the Hot 100 behind Bootylicious, and eventually became the best-selling single of 2001.
And after all that shit, Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States. I'm real.
It also peaked at number 3 in Canada, number 7 in Australia, number 12 in the UK, and top 40 across Europe and Asia. Do we think that with the original Firecracker sample and had everything gone to plan, do we feel like it would have went number 1?
This is my problem. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like when I first listened, I did not hear a hit. I wasn't like captivated as other songs that I've heard from Mariah or other albums. And to be the first one, I don't know. It didn't do it for me at the beginning. Now they were praying for her downfall. It was a very rough time for her, but we can't say for sure because the event that happened kind of led to that. You know what I mean?
Right.
We can't say 100% that it wasn't going to be a number 1 because Mariah had the success from previous albums. So a number 1 should have been guaranteed. You know what I mean? So was it the factors such as Motorola uh, impacting her, like her rollout, or was it the 9/11 event, or was it just her, her craft not being there 100% on that record? I don't know. And that's what sometimes is confusing to me. I'm like, why didn't it do better? What was it? What was the reason? Like Cardi B was saying.
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the
I had a
reason?
reason.
What was the reason?
What was the reason? No, and that's why I'm not trying to obsess about the chart position. I'm obsessed with that
Yeah.
alternate reality where I want to know what would happen had all things planned, because
Yeah.
it was blocked by Bootylicious, which was also like a huge song by Destiny's Child. And
That's
like
true.
Ary was saying, it would have been guaranteed that would have been a number one because of her previous success.
Mhm.
However, I don't think it was 9/11 affected it because it was released like before that. But I guess with the album, maybe it would have boosted it to that point. So
Yeah.
there's a part of me that always felt like, oh, it should have been number one, whatever. But then now that I've been thinking about it and we've been talking to different people, I kind of feel like number two is like, that's what it got and that's what it is, because with all the different factors into account, even without all that, Bootylicious was a huge song. And also, I guess we didn't have the boost of the album sales.
Yeah, I know there's some lambs who will like swear up and down that Loverboy is like one of the greatest songs ever written.
Yeah.
Especially when you compare it to like so many of her other number ones. Personally, I don't think it's quite at the caliber of like a Heartbreaker, which is probably like the most comparable song, especially
Yeah.
of the ones that went number one. But I do think just overall there were a lot of challenges with the album and the movie, and I think it was
Exactly.
really a complete the whole experience kind of made it a little bit more difficult for it to chart. So I think a lot of things would have had to have been different for this song to be number one beyond how it sounds.
Yeah, I feel like if it happened, like she would have like gotten away with it for like 1 week, but then like it would have went down, like kind of like, I don't know, like someone who's like in their imperial era, like they kind of a lot of musicians who are popular, like they kind of get away with something that people don't necessarily remember, and I agree.
Yeah, like maybe if the movie was a really big hit and it would have maybe
Yeah,
boosted it up for a week or two, but it went how it
never
went.
know.
So
That's such a perfect way of putting it.
Yeah. And now for the music video, both directed by the iconic photographer David LaChapelle, displays Mariah with a lighter hair and more revealing looks at race card black girl, setting off the race, coming out of a cake, a kaleidoscope filter, and writing on top, not pun intended. It featured the now iconic thigh-high boots with her pink outer jumper and double handkerchief bra.
Yes, the performances, or lack thereof, from the overexhaustion to the trauma to 9/11 happening, its first performance was at a private special concert for the U.S. troops at Camp Bondsteel in Kosovo. Loverboy and Glitter have been paid dust in general until 2018's Caution era, where fans launched the hashtag Justice for Glitter campaign, which got the album to number one on iTunes, and from there, Lambs have gotten glitter on streaming, remastered music videos, performances, and more.
First, the infamous iconic surprise appearance on MTV Total Request Live, TRL, with host Carson Daly. As Carson finished presenting the video, interrupted by Mariah singing Loverboy while coming out in an oversized shirt pushing an ice cream cart.
I'm Real the remix.
Loverboy, come on and love me.
What the hell's that?
Give me more.
Oh,
Touch
Mariah
me, touch
Carey.
me.
You gotta be kidding me. What are you doing here? If you're just joining us, Mariah Carey.
Hi, Carson.
What are you doing here?
Hi.
How are
I
you?
just thought I'd surprise you.
Yeah,
I
sure.
brought you a present. It's this shirt.
What are you doing? Oh my God. What are you doing? Mariah Carey is stripping on TRL right now. Is it my birthday that I didn't know about it?
Do you like this?
What are you doing? What did you bring?
I'm trying to. You're my therapy session right now, Carson.
Okay, what's
you see,
wrong?
every now and then, somebody needs a little therapy.
Yes, I understand that.
And today is that moment for me.
What's wrong? Well, you weren't.
Everything's
Aren't you
great.
busy? You just came by TRL to
Hello.
hang out. I did not know about this.
The appearance was pre-planned, obviously, but unknown to the public, and Carson began dramatically interviewing an overexhausted Mariah as she handed out ice cream to screaming fans and waved to the crowd below on Times Square.
The next iconic appearance? A CD signing in Tower Records. Media coverage showed a reporter asking how Mariah felt about Howard Stern dissing her on radio. And as Mariah tried to defend herself, a publicist, Cindy Berger, grabbed the microphone to give us the iconic quote.
Just living in the moment of being positive, and there's like people called haters. No, Cindy, let's go. One more thing. And we give them positivity. Let's go. Stop. You see, I can't even get a minute, guy.
We give them positivity. And finally, there was the website voice notes and messages by Mariah to her fans. At one point, she posted the quote, "I'm trying to understand things in life right now, and so I don't really feel like I should be doing music right now. What I'd like to do is to just take a little break, or at least get one night of sleep without someone popping up about a video. All I really want is to just be me, and that's what I should have done in the first place. I don't say this much, but guess what? I don't take care of myself."
This message was removed and retracted by her team. On July 26, 2001, it was reported that Mariah was hospitalized, citing an extreme exhaustion and a physical and emotional breakdown, leading to the soundtrack and the film being delayed.
After all this mess, Mariah was released. She fulfilled her promotional obligations for the movie, released a medley of Never Too Far / Hero for charity, did charity concerts for 9/11, but was still bought out of her record deal for $50 million and flew away to Capri to go and record Charm Bracelet. Mother.
So let's talk about the movies, performances, and interviews, and more.
The movie. What do we all think about it?
No, listen, I thought Mariah's acting was good. I have to say though, when I first watched it, I was confused. I thought I clicked the wrong movie. No shit. I was like, who's this little girl? Who is the mom? Why are they here? Isn't it supposed to be Mariah Glitter? That's what I was expecting. Like Mariah off the bat. But I understood later, like it was, the evolution of her as an individual. It was confusing at some points. I was like, why? Like it felt, as one of the other guys shared as well, like a biopic kind of movie, like a trajectory of how they were as a young girl to an artist. But it wasn't even it was a fake script, like a fake character. Like it was a character. It wasn't actually like a movie. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think her acting was bad though. Like people say her acting is bad. I don't think it was. I think it was good. What do you think? Like I said, they're gonna drag me, so I wasn't expecting.
I think it didn't say anything bad. What do you think, Katie?
Yeah, I mean, maybe this makes me a bad Mariah fan. I haven't seen that movie in so long, but I would have been younger when I saw it, so the acting to me would not have stood out as bad. Not that I was looking for anything to criticize. I think for me the highlight is the music. There's a lot of songs in the movie that I think really hold up and that I really enjoy. And she also looks beautiful. She looks great.
Yeah.
Great outfit.
Great cinematography.
And it makes sense. Singing, her singing in the in the movie or whatever. Like it makes sense for Mariah to play that role. I wouldn't have liked no one else to do it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
like so many people have like panned it, and so like since there was so much like hate, like I found it on YouTube. It's on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. We're all basing this off that one person who uploaded it. They're doing God's work.
Thank you.
Because they haven't put it on Tubi yet, so we're waiting for that. Like honestly, when I was watching, like I was expecting. I don't know if it's because I had really low expectations, because everybody that I've talked to or seen online, they've said like it was super bad, it was awful. So when I watched it, I'm like, hey, this wasn't that bad. Was it the best movie I've ever watched in my life? No, but it wasn't like bad. I think it was just like supposed to be a fun movie, and that's it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it just being for fun and having a good time.
Yeah.
Mariah likes to have a good time.
I guess like what's wrong with it is like I've always tried to like put my finger on it, but like I guess for me it would be the plot. Sometimes like things I felt like they weren't explored fully to the extent that they could have, but I just feel like, with all the different factors going on, I mean, it was never going to be that. It wasn't going to be her initial vision of love. So, and I also found it also ironic that in the movie, her character Billy Frank, like Loverboy is her debut single, and you see that, I think it's like a scene where she has like a newspaper and it says like, sold out Madison Square Garden, Loverboy, #1 for 10 weeks. And I'm like, I just find it ironic, like in real life, well, that's okay.
She's trying to foreshatter. She's trying to
she was manifesting, and it didn't manifest.
She needed this because, like I said before, her following album, Charm Bracelet, I love, is one of my favorites.
That's right.
So she needed this down so that the next one will be even better. Like not down, like just like a little. Because #2 is still good. I mean, I know people who can't even get a #2 these days. So to even have that, not have a #1, but also like it was needed. She had to have this #2 to even have the #1 she had later.
Right.
Like it was character development.
Yeah, she set the bar, especially earlier in her like pre-Glitter, that basically the entirety of the 90s. Commercially, she set the bar so high that it was impossible to sustain that for, into the 2000s. She had a number one every year of the 90s.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
It's hard. Like
there has to be
you
some fatigue at some point, right?
It just amazes me like how fast like the whole media and entity of the music industry like turned on her. Because if you think about it, like I said, she had a number one every single year of the decade, and it's like, damn, we can't have 1 year where I don't get a number one. Like I just had one in 2000. Like thank God I found you.
and it's sad that that's all it takes. Just one little fail and that's it. You're a failure
Yeah.
now.
But
Like
like I said,
it's
we
crazy.
got Charm Bracelet.
Yeah, that is true.
Which I think is, not to go on a side tangent, but I think it was cool because I felt like the pressure was off. So it was like, it was more
Yeah.
experimental and like, it just felt effortless, the Charm Bracelet era. And it was cool, like effortlessly cool. So let's talk about the music video. So that was directed by David LaChapelle. What do we think about it? Because when I first watched it, I'm like, now wait a minute. Because there's just so many, I feel like there's so many cuts in the music video. I'm like, I don't know where to look. And the kaleidoscope, and I'm like, do I need to get my eyes checked? No, that's just the video. Okay. As we were preparing for this episode, I was watching like the making of the music video, which is like a series they did on MTV or whatever. They were like, okay, so David, like, what's the direction? And he literally said, quote for quote, I'm quoting, he's like, boys love cars, boys love hot chicks. That's all you need.
As David keeps yelling at me, you're a car model, and you love this because you love it. You're happy you're a car model. Woo! Car model.
Basically, it's boys and cars, Boys love cars, boys love hot chicks. It's a chick on a car, and that's all it is.
And I feel like you can tell from watching that. It's very, like, David was like, we're gonna, like Katie said, great gowns, great cars, beautiful cars.
It just doesn't make sense.
I
It
don't
don't
know
make
if boys were
sense.
watching Glitter. Who were wanting the,
That too.
who
Like,
were
who
wanting
was
the
watching
cars
that?
and the pretty girls, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, David. Like, visually it's stunning, but it's just like there's no plot. So
Exactly.
I
There's
like
no
I really like a music video where there's a story, like Through the Rain or Honey or whatever.
exactly, and that's why for me it was like, why is Mariah even on this? I thought it was just a car whatever competition or whatever video because Mariah has those other videos that are beautiful, have a story, have a meaning, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden she's on this. I'm like, I don't know. It fell off.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely, it's one of those ones that the visual of it kind of sticks out in my memory, like all the bright
Mhm.
like hot pink and the blue,
Yeah.
and like the outfits that she wears. But in terms of like remembering like this, like, I mean, there's not really a storyline, but there's other videos that I think of when I think of a Mariah video that I think represent
Yeah.
her and her artistry a lot better.
No, that's so true. Like you definitely remember the color palette of like the whole glitter era. Like they did a great job with the branding and psychographics, like the semiotic colors. Because when I think glitter, like
Yes.
texture, like pink, blue, and like the video and whatever. But it's like it needs to be more than that. It's a little surface level.
All right, so now for a little bit of mess, performance, and interview. So many quotable moments, darling.
There was so many different appearances, and there was one that everybody remembers,
Mhm.
the TRL appearance. Now, took it off YouTube, but it was there a long time. Have you seen it, Katie? Like the ice cream cart and the mess of it all?
Oh yeah, I definitely have seen it all. Actually, in my last year of university, I wrote a paper about Mariah, and
I love that.
It was a celebrity culture class,
Mhm.
and so that was like a huge part of it because it kind of became the center of this supposed downfall that the media kind of put on her. And yeah, it's definitely it's sad to watch now in context, understanding that
Mhm.
there was obviously so many complications going on in her personal life. So yeah, that's kind of what sticks out to me about it now is just kind of you can't help but think about how much she was going through. Now that we
Yeah.
have a little bit more context.
And I always felt like Carson kind of like embellished or exaggerated what was happening. Like,
Yeah,
yes,
that
did
is
she
true.
seem tired? Absolutely. But like I remember at one point there was the full segment on YouTube, and I was watching it and I was listening to what she was saying, and it made sense to me. Like I don't really get where they're getting this. Oh, she was erratic. She was having a breakdown. Like maybe from the therapy line, where she's like, "Oh, I think we all need a little bit of therapy." Well, she didn't lie. We all need therapy. Like maybe that's just how I think. But like I just feel like Carson was always like, "Oh, like I didn't know what was happening. Nobody told me." Like most surprise appearances are not really surprises, and she wasn't stripping. She was taking off her t-shirt, and yeah, I just feel like they totally just took something and ran with it.
I think that she was down and they wanted to bring her down even more. And
Mhm.
that's really what I felt like. I think she was just having fun also. Like this
Yeah.
whole project was her having fun as well. Or maybe it was trying to get distraction from what was really happening in her life. Because
Mm.
all that she was going through and to be still like having to do the work, like no, it felt confusing for me. Even that when you watch her like taking the shirt off, it's like it wasn't anything crazy, but it's like
Mhm.
why Mariah? Why? Like, what was going on? What was the thought behind it? I don't think it was surprise. Nothing is ever, a surprise in television. Come on.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
The interviews, different interviews, like I feel like they're like some of like her funniest times. But also you can tell
Right.
again that she's exhausted. But like she's still giving like each interviewer like the time they need and treating them like a human, obviously, and like trying to relate to them, connect with them. And we see moments of further frustration when she's at like the CD signing or something outside with the glitter t-shirt and the boombox. She's trying to like respond to like the haters. She's like, the haters, no, Cindy, we give them positivity. And I just, when that line like just embodies the era for me, it's like she was trying to give us positivity and everybody was like, no.
It wasn't the traditional Mariah. It wasn't the Mariah they knew. So they were like, what is going on? And when you don't understand
They didn't like the
something, they
change.
try to take it down.
Yes.
So they didn't like how she was.
No one likes to see Mariah have fun. It's not fair. She always
Right?
gets
Yeah.
dragged when she's doing something fun, which feels like to me such an important part of her art and her personality. That
Absolutely.
people don't like it. People like her being serious, which is, I mean, there's good
Yeah,
Yeah,
moments
people
there.
have that balladeer image of her, whereas like if you look at her personality now, it checks with the glitter. And if glitter was like a future album, whatever, like Mariah's always been this way. This is her personality, and people I guess just didn't really see that because you have to be more of a hardcore fan to know. Have we all read Mariah's memoir? And now that we have like more context, has your opinions changed about anything? Or
I think for me, reading the memoir, I think if you're involved in the Mariah lore, you knew a lot of what was in the book. But yeah, it was really interesting to hear it from her perspective. And yeah, I love that that line in the book when she says, I'm real at the end of her little bit about
yeah,
the whole debacle. I kind of like sat there for a minute. I was like, oh,
I'm like I was
she
like,
went
oh
there.
shit.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
like the real moment. Like that was her. It wasn't her. Like, and that's what it could have been worse. Her faking it and pretending to. That's when I think it would have been even worse. Her faking her persona at the time and like not showing what she really was going through. That would have been really bad because we would have seen like that's the fake Mariah. That's someone who's not. You know what I mean? Like, is not a
Yeah.
persona. But this is who she was. And like you were saying, like there's never a moment where she's like happy. She's always has to write about sad songs in order for people to love her. And that at this she was trying to switch that. And I think, like you said, we didn't like it. People didn't take to it. And then that's why they confused her or something.
Well, I think she tried to like do that with the voice notes, but then the media just took it more as like, oh, she's like spiraling, or no, she's just talking to her fans in her persona, which people weren't like used to. And when I was reading the memoir, you find like, yes, that's true. Like I knew most things, but I didn't know how bad it was. Yeah, that's not it.
And also that's part due to Tony. Like
Tony.
I can't name him. Approach to always want like to take her down. That's why I think also
Yeah,
didn't,
like taking down signage and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's a bit extreme.
It was controlled. It was toxic, and I'm glad she left that and she was able to get better.
It amazes me like Charm Bracelet came so quickly after because like you do all that. I would need at least a 5-year break from all that. Like that's a lot to stomach and go through. And I'm glad she got therapy and healed from that moment.
Ran it through the rain.
Exactly.
All right, so it's time for the sign off. What are your final thoughts on Loverboy?
To me, Loverboy is like possibly the most interesting song of Mariah's to talk about, even though, like we said, it's a weird one. It's definitely an anomaly, and it's like nothing else in her discography, I don't think. It's definitely a very important part of her career and also a very interesting part of her career to discuss. So I'm glad we got to talk about that today.
Yeah, like the amount of BS that she went through with the movie and the soundtrack. I think we all know how hard it is to execute your vision on a creative project. So it was done to the best of her ability. And even though it didn't do what it was supposed to, like you said, we're still talking about it today. It is memorable. I think it truly is iconic because like the mess of it all and the lore and the struggle, but still doing it anyways and making light of it, like that is what being an icon is all about. Like still having that veneration from your fans and continuing to push, continuing to strive and pushing your pen pop from the paper to the studio to the CD signing.
Yeah.
To give them positivity.
Well, for me, like I love that you said that, Dante, that the fans, like we have become so like protective of it that it's also okay to say like, you know what, it wasn't what we wanted it to be or people at the time wanted it to be. For us, it's fine. Like we will watch it, we'll take it, and if you love it, you love it, you don't, and it's completely fine. And I just think people need to like relax a little bit when it comes to glitter. At first, like I said, I didn't like it. I was like, what is this? But once you take the time to go through the lyrics and you take the soundtrack and the movie and making all the connections, maybe you're able to have like a better outcome for Loverboy and to hear a better Mariah or a better soundtrack. I don't know. But I liked that she was able to at least have this, the following album would have been what it is, which is one of my favorite. What was your favorite, Katie?
My favorite album's Butterfly, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes.
Yes. I forgot about her. But no, but like I love Butterfly, which also at the beginning I was like, but when I listen again, I'm like, no, that's the certified.
Yeah.
And I
number
was
one.
mad. And I was mad as hell because
I think that okay, here, wait, give me a little context. I was rushing through it because he gave me the homework to listen to all of it. And there's not that 1 or 3 albums. There's
it's pretty
how
lame for
many?
you.
So
There's a
I
lot.
had to just take my time. Yeah. So, but I love it's my favorite. So
Yeah. The great thing about Butterfly is you can listen to it. I still listen to it and I hear new things every time. So it's one that you gotta
Yes.
grow
Yeah.
with. Yes.
literally.
And that was one of my final questions I want to ask you. So in your
All right.
Mariah Renaissance deep dive, what would you say is like the most interesting thing that you've learned from Glitter or Butterfly or any of the other albums? I know you haven't finished yet, but you're almost there.
The most interesting thing that I've learned, I would say, honestly, I've done quite a few videos where I go into like some of the background parts. I know Mariah loves her like little ad libs and stuff in the back. There was a couple that I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think there's one about Butterfly that I was kind of listening to them a little closer, and I found some new little ad libs in there, and I always get really excited when I find those. So that's probably that was probably the coolest thing I learned. Also, I did a well, I kind of already knew this, but I did my episode on Glitter and on Loverboy, and people came quite heavily to the defense of Loverboy.
Right.
I knew that people supported it a lot,
Right.
but
Of course.
yeah, some people were like, "Oh, it's one of her best songs," and I'm like, "Okay." If that's what you
I mean,
think,
for
that's what
some
you
people
feel.
it is.
It is,
Yeah, and obviously everyone likes what they like, and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
But learning about a little bit more about the fan opinions was interesting as well.
I can
Love
only
it.
imagine the comments.
Yes.
But Katie's a
I'm ready for
lamb,
this one.
so when the context of the lamb, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I come at everything with from love of Mariah.
Yes.
So,
Of
yes,
course.
of course.
Before we wrap up, make sure to check out Katie's blog on Pop on Substack at katiemarnoch.substack.com/ and you can follow Katie on social media at Katie Marnoch, where you can check out her Mariah Renaissance and other album reviews, new releases, and all things about your favorite pop music and other music and albums.
Alrighty. Thank you, Katie, so much for coming.
Thank you
Yes.
so much for having me.
This is so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time.
On PenPop. Bye.
Bye.
PenPop is produced and edited by Ary Dominguez and Dante Domenico. Hosted by Ary Dominguez and Dante Domenico. Graphics created by Ary Dominguez and Dante Domenico. Themes music created by Ary Dominguez. Thank you to the listeners who support us. If you'd like to show your support or learn more information, visit the show notes in your podcast app.
Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Bye!